9 people were taken to hospital, including one person with serious injuries after a cultural festival turned violent at a West End park. The violence broke out at the Festival Eritrea, Toronto, which is billed as a sports and cultural festival.
Demonstrators arrived to protest the African nation's government, which is when things took a turn. CTV's Siobhan Morris has been following the situation and joins us live now with the latest. Siobhan.
Well, some of the demonstration now has spilled from the park onto the road. I'll show you what we're looking at right now. Traffic's been blocked at St. Clair and Caledonia for the better part of an hour. In the last few minutes, we saw these demonstrators surround a car. We know that no car traffic's been getting through over the last hour, but a car was trying to barrel through this line of protesters you're seeing. No buses have been getting through, no street cars either. All of this started at 9 o'clock in the morning in Earls Court Park at that Eritrean festival. We know that there were families there enjoying food, music. There's a soccer tournament on as well. When demonstrators show up, this is a political clash, but we saw people from both sides of this equation grab weapons, tent poles, and take branches off of trees to use as weapons. And it seems that things will stay tense here for a while yet. A parade of police officers marching into Earls Court Park to keep the peace. This was the scene of an Eritrean cultural festival. Demonstrators who stand against the Eritrean government showed up to shut it down.
As soon as they came over here, over 200, they started to destroy everything, just like bomb.
They started breaking down all the tents, started taking the poles and hitting people with them and things like that. Like, it was extremely violent. Obviously, in retaliation, people are going to fight back and try to protect themselves.
Like, you can protest. Like, I'm down for that. I respect that, but for it to be physical, it's not necessary.
Police say 9 people were hurt, one of them stabbed and facing life-threatening injuries. The anger sparked by a perceived connection to the Eritrean government.
This event is sponsored and organized by extreme loyalists of the Eritrean dictator.
They are collecting money from the Eritrean diaspora. And then this government, they have a long arm. What they do is all these young people you see, they flee the country through the border, Sudan and the Sahara Desert. And then they come here and then they make a fear so that these people don't say anything.
The festival and the protests are expected to continue tomorrow. People hope that cooler heads will prevail.
This is something where we're gathering as Eritreans. It has nothing to do with our political identity. We all share different views.
And again, we are continuing to see those demonstrations. No sign how long they'll go on tonight. I can show you that the road is still blocked here at St. Clair and Caledonia. Police trying to reason, I think, with some of the demonstrators who've been having some confrontation with drivers. Again, this started at 9 o'clock this morning, is continuing, of course, after 6 o'clock, and no telling at this point how much longer this will go on. We know that this festival continues for 3 days, and there's a major event planned tomorrow at the Sheraton downtown, where protesters have told me they do plan to show up.
Tracking now, at least 9 people are injured after a demonstration turned violent in a Toronto park this morning. It happened just before 10 a.m. this morning. Police say there was a festival being held in the park. A counter-protest showed up and the 2 groups clashed. 1 person was seriously injured and taken to hospital with stab wounds. 8 others taken to hospital have non-life-threatening injuries. Police say more people are being treated at the scene for minor injuries. The festival was celebrating Eritrean culture.
At first, it was just chanting whatever, which no one was really bothered for. But then once they started gathering by the gazebo in that area, then after the tent started catching on fire, they started hitting older adults. Like, they did not care for anyone's well-being. And obviously, we had people taken to hospital.
Started off like just voices, and then later on it got a bit aggressive. They like tore down the tents that was over there. They started tearing down other tents down there. And then, yeah, it got aggressive, and then a lot of people got hit. People were bleeding. Paramedics came. They took care of the people that got hurt, but luckily, you know, no one died or anything.
Now, festival attendees say the event has been held for decades without incident. Human rights groups describe Eritrea as one of the world's most repressive countries since gaining independence from Ethiopia 30 years ago. The country has had 1 president who has never held an election.
9 people have been taken to hospital after a demonstration turned violent at Earls Court Park this morning. Police were called to the park at St. Clair and Caledonia shortly before 10 a.m. for reports of a fight and a person with a knife. Upon arrival, they found one person with stab wounds, and they've been taken to hospital with serious injuries. The 8 others taken to hospital have non-life-threatening injuries.
On this Saturday night, a Toronto festival turns violent.
3-4 people was down. They hit them on the head.
Several people are sent to hospital when demonstrators crash the party. The politics believed to be behind the attack.
Global National with Farah Nasser. Reporting tonight, Colleen Christie.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Police from across Toronto converged on a park in the city's West End, trying to put an end to violence at a community festival today that injured several people, sending 9 to hospital. A large contingent of officers was deployed to a park on Toronto's west side where the local Eritrean community was hosting a festival. Organizers say a group of up to 200 people showed up and began disrupting the event. Tents were smashed and set on fire, and police say one person was stabbed.
ብብርጌድ ንሓመዱ ናብ ኤርትራ
Extra Tacoma police presence today patrolling the 49th annual Eritrean festival. The added officers follows a number of disturbances. This morning, a group of protesters vandalized several tents set up for the festival downtown. Just a couple hours after, there were clashes between protesters and festival attendees. These protests against Eritrean-themed festivals aren't just happening here. Only a few days ago, a festival in Sweden took a violent turn. Nearly 1,000 protesters there stormed the event, leaving more than 50 people injured. Demonstrators in Sweden and Tacoma claim the festivals are allegedly used as a promotional tool and a source of money for the nation's government.
Cultural festival is not the issue. The issue is they fund the Eritrean government holding these festivals. So when they raise money, they send the money back to Eritrea to support the dictator that sent us all here, that's killing us.
Fox 13 tried getting into the festival to speak with organizers, but they declined to comment. More officers are now in the area to make sure everything stays civil as the festival continues.